Alright, hey everybody, it's your pal Smiley back again with another emergency video. I'm sick. This is not my week, but at least I was able to mostly work out the audio issues with this shit computer, and this is hopefully the last thing that I'm going to have to record on it before my functional, better computer works. I'm hoping the sound won't be as screeching as with Clue. It seems like it won't be. Let's roll those fucking dice. When always the same blue sky. It's a pretty simple, visual novel from what I can tell. Are we going to adventure as a male or a female? Let us be female this time. Fuck it. I leant over the immaculate red rail of the ferry and stared into the inviting Mediterranean Sea. Fucking Christ. Already off to a fantastic start. So this has just been such a shit week, I swear to God. Ugh. The combined effect of the gentle breeze and wake from the ferry gave the impression that the sea was sheathed in silk. The precious fabric was a rich shade of turquoise which transformed the glaring sun into 1,000 stars. Mesmerized, lost in the abyss, I had an overwhelming desire to obtain one of these elusive glimmers of light. After spending only minutes transfixed, the desire developed into an unhealthy need that I couldn't overcome. I dutifully answered the possessor's siren call by deftly diving deep into its mysterious depths. The cool water felt divine against my mortal skin. As it washed away the heat, I seemed to fall over. I'm sure my voice sounds so fucking ridiculous right now. My nose is just almost entirely fucking plugged up. It was in that euphoric deep blue world that I caught a glimpse of her. Like a jellyfish, she floated submissively in the water, with no obvious aim nor purpose. Her hair and elaborate garments danced around her in the water, as if trying to coax her to life. It worked. Although she remained unmoving, she acknowledged my presence with a smile. I smiled back, and she reached out towards my eyes. I instantly felt every muscle in my body relax. As she did this, the sea-green filter that tinted this second world became more apparent, along with the shimmer of the distant sun. God, I'm gonna have to keep fucking stopping every few minutes to clear passages, and my phone fucking keeps going off with Reddit from things. Don't ask. I wondered if this was the result of her using some sort of heavenly force or merely the depletion of my sanity. The glistening of her flowing hair became more prominent as my vision blurred. It was all I could focus on as my consciousness ebbed away. I woke sharply upright and panting heavily. I blinked, allowing a few seconds for reality to take over. Intense dream, I muttered, trying to speed up the process. I guess the last few days have been pretty full on. I collapsed back down and took a minute to take in my new beachside apartment. It felt alien. My eyes watered as I attempted to look past the bright light coming through my window to see what awaited me outside. I should be doing a girl voice, but fuck it, I'm too tired and too in pain to do a proper girl voice. Bright light, damn it. I leapt out of bed and rooted frantically through the open suitcase on the floor. Mother Christmas, 9:21 already. College starts in 9 minutes. The alarm must have been muffled. I grabbed my toothbrush and headed to the bathroom, stretching a little on the way. I needed to turn on the light as there was I didn't need to turn on the light as there was already ample... What? That's not how you use that word. Okay. I didn't need to turn on the light as there was already ample, which felt bizarre as it had been snowing when I left England. I recoiled at the half-human creature that greeted me in the mirror. I unfortunately didn't have time to fully tame it. As I brushed my teeth, I caught a glimpse of the familiar bottle of pills out of the corner of my eye. It dawned on me that the last few days had been a bit of a blur. I was more than used to moving around, though, so I knew I'd snap out of it. I decided to take an extra tablet all the same. Ooh, yeah, we doing drugs. We getting fucking turned up for college. I scouted the room as I hurriedly got dressed, throwing everything I laid my eyes on into my satchel, before legging it into the desperate hope I wouldn't be more than 10 minutes late. It took me an extra 5 minutes to find classroom 2C, as the instructions on the map were nowhere near as straightforward as they made themselves out to be. I ended up being around 20 minutes late. The teacher was not impressed. I apologized and awkwardly introduced myself to the teacher whilst I felt the coldness of 40-odd pairs of eyes attempting to glare into the back of my soul. She cut my explanation short, agitatedly told me to take a seat without pause, It continued with the lecture. I turned around to face my new classmates, their expressions now ranging from boredom to disinterest. All except one. Uh-oh. Whoa. Fuck that fucking computer. God damn it. I snapped out of autopilot as I hit an unexpected turbulence, but my hands missed the controls and I was left stunned. This is the most basic bitch anime girl you've ever seen. She was without a doubt the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen, flawlessly proportioned with an almost porcelain face, completely free of any imperfections. That's usually seen as a little more negative in Japan. They like tiny imperfections, like kind of fucked up teeth or like a little mold or some shit. Although untanned, the colors of her hair gave the impression she had spent a lifetime bathing in the sun. Full of depth, it appeared radiant in the bright light that flooded through the window behind her. It avoided the perfect frame of her piercing apple-green eyes, which penetrated through all pretense. She had uncontested access to my very core. That's kind of fast. Although I felt exposed, I did not feel intimidated, as her warm smile comforted me amongst all the dirty looks and sniggering. Am I gonna have to bleep? I'm gonna have to bleep that. Should I bother? I don't know. Fuck it. Whatever. Pollux! Who the fuck's Pollux? I came crashing back down to reality as I realized I'd been standing there gormlessly? The fuck does gormlessly mean? For a lot longer than could be considered socially appropriate. I know a lot of fucking weird, big words. I have never fucking heard gormlessly in my life. I came crashing back down to reality as I realized I'd been standing there. Oh, right, fuck. Sorry, I paused again. I felt my face flush as I sheepishly took my place in the last remaining seat, which was, guess where? Right next to her, of course. Terrific. Oh, fucking Christ, my phone's going off again. I spent the rest of the day... Okay, finally we're a choice. Should we try to avoid eye contact with her, or nervously grin whenever she looks in our direction? Fuck it, because we have no interest in her. She looks like a basic bitch. Ignore. Okay, good job, class. I expect to see you promptly tomorrow, the teacher said, glaring at me once again. Oh god, she's devolved in frame. Hi, I'm Kira. It's a pleasure to meet you. She pushed her hair behind her ear, revealing the full extent of her smile. Her full attention was focused on me, and this caught me completely off guard. I'd shown no interest in her. I don't know why she's even here. As a result, I reverted to a more primal species, one without the capacity for language. The African poison dart frog. I think that's what that is. Are you new to the island? Still nothing. It's not a big place. I haven't seen you around. My brain slowly started to click back into life. I decided to start with my name. I gotta think of a name. Fuck, what's gonna be my name? You know what, fuck it. As I'm sick, we shall be... Oh, no. It's homage to one of my favorite comics of all time. I can't be Ricko the Sicko. Fucking cut, fine. God damn it. Sicko. Fuck you. I am Sicko. I boom confidently. Fuck you. Overcompensating for my previous silence. No! Trying to scare her away. It's great to meet you! I just arrived here yesterday. In fact, it was the last minute thing, so I think my brain cells could be lagging a little behind. I scratched the back of my head nervously. I was lucky to find an international college in such a remote place, really. I smiled awkwardly, realizing that I was waffling. I guess you weren't from around here. You're from England, right? I was shocked. How'd you know that? Your accent. Kira was chuckling a little at my expression. Great, glad things are picking up, I thought sarcastically. I couldn't help but grin at my own denseness. I tried to work out where she was from, that I could continue the conversation, but I was baffled. It was obvious she wasn't a local. She must be from one of those tiny micronations, like Genovia. I had lived in what seemed like every nook and cranny of the globe, yet I had never encountered an accent like hers before. Not that it didn't compliment her perfectly. But guess. I planted my tongue firmly on the side of my cheek. I'm gonna take a random stab in the dark and say you're from the Netherlands? Knowing full well I was wrong. I couldn't gauge Kira's reaction. Afraid not. I'm not giving up that easily. How about a mysterious undiscovered island in the Bermuda Triangle? Well, now how would I have gotten here? Fuck you, that's how! Very true. You'll never get it, Kira said with a chuckle and glint in her eye. I guess you'll have to come to some... You have to spend some time with me to figure it out. I felt my heart thump. That was the girl. What was this girl doing to me? So on that note, would you like to... So on that note, would you like someone to show you around? Well, the places I've discovered so far, anyway. Yeah, that'd be great, if you're sure I don't mind. She smiled excitedly. Sure, I'd love to. With that, Kira turned and led me out of the classroom. Our peers parted as she walked, with purpose towards the exit. Her annoyingness is giving me cancer. I was starting to wonder where the hell Kira was taking me after following her through the random side roads and dark alleys for what must have been at least half an hour. She would stop occasionally when confronted with more than one path, her gaze flicking wildly between them before confidently strolling down the one that seemed to lead closest to our point of origin. It was this, coupled with the signpost that we had passed 4 times previously, that led me to the conclusion that we were going around in circles. I've got a feeling it could be the next left. Why do you say that? I moved my glance to the signpost behind Kira to her eyes. Intuition! Kira looked dubious, but didn't question me further as we rounded the corner. What are the people here like, then? Island mentality and all that? They're friendly enough, but a little one-dimensional. Outsiders usually have more substance. I was unsure how to take this, but didn't have time to contemplate as Kira had cut herself off with a sharp look to the right. You know what? I'm sure this is where I lost my bracelet the other week. Kira's feet followed her gaze diligently down the side street, her eyes focusing on different points as she described them. It's nothing extravagant, just a chain with shells attached, really, but it meant a lot to me. Fuck, I don't care about this bitch. Find out more about the bracelet, I guess? So it holds sentimental value? That it be rare precious metals or rare stones? How much would it be worth in the black market? Oh, fuck. Can I go back? Okay. Each shell belonged to a dear friend of mine. I like carrying a part of them with me. It's a shame to have lost it, but could you ask them to send you replacements? Kira turned away. That's not an option. I ate them all. I felt a slight stab of pain. Let's make sure we find it, then. Kira turned back, offering an unconvincing smile. Don't worry, I'm sure it's long gone. Come on, I've got a lot to show you. So here we are, then, Kira said, turning suddenly at the end of an alley. My faces were now only inches apart. Her relaxed, soothing breath caressed my face. I was too on edge to breathe myself. She stank so bad. The town center. As she said this, she leant to one side, examining my expression. I felt the light she had been guarding hit my face. I was blinded briefly and fell to the ground. I was greeted by the bustling, charming, pretty town center, modern yet quaint. She giggled and realized she'd expected my slightly stunned reaction. I love this town. There's always a really good atmosphere. Would you like to see some of my favorite stores? Yes, sure, I say, dusting myself off and removing the piece of gum that had got stuck in my hair as I fell. Great, because I have impeccable taste. She tapped my nose before she turned around to lead. The side street came out roughly halfway up the steep hill on which the town was situated. I squinted as we were bathed in warm sunlight, which was intensified with a large number of glass shops. I must be part of a magpie, as I was entirely seduced. The constant cool sea breeze allowed time to take it all in. The parts of the buildings which weren't constructed of glass had very traditional, almost ceramic quality to them. Kira's pace had mellowed quite drastically from the one I had become accustomed to, which only served to exacerbate the relaxing air the town had already secreted. We casually meandered, with Kira stopping and explaining why she liked only one quirky shop after the next. I'm not reading all these. I'm not. I don't fucking care. I only recall actually going to the town stores, but even it seemed excessive, as Kira had given me a detailed overview of their contents and history beforehand. Some of them seemed far too dramatic or unrealistic to actually be believable, such as the story behind her favourite shop, which sold exquisite glassware. Apparently the shopkeeper's husband had gone on a sea during a ferocious storm one night and never returned. Every evening the widow took a gas lamp to the shore, faithfully awaiting her husband's return, but always left disappointed. Until exactly 3 months after his disappearance, when an exquisite golden glass starfish washed up by her feet. She took this as a message from her husband and an inspiration to learn the craft. She opened a humble store, hoping it would one day hear tell of it and return to her. I guess it's just a happy coincidence that she seemed to be doing pretty well out of it, as there were quite a few people gathered outside, which was unsurprising, really. The shop itself stood out a mile over its competitors. Even though the sun was beginning to set, the shop still sparkled wildly. The front display was filled to the brim with coloured glass, which seemed intent on conquering the full spectrum. It really was mesmerizing. "This is my favourite piece," Kira said, breaking the spell cast by pointing at a dazzling glass dolphin jumping out of a green-coloured sea. She was leaning in, fixated on it. Her face didn't show it, but I'm sure she saw a shade of sadness in her eyes. "I wish I was a dolphin." She turned to face me, swimming warmly. "Do you like milkshakes?" "I do, but I also want you to go away, so I'm lactose intolerant." "Can't say I do, unfortunately. They don't agree with me, so I tend to avoid them, unless they're dolphin-flavoured, of course." "Oh. Don't worry about it. The place I'm thinking of also does great smoothies, but the main selling point is the view. Come on, I'll show you what I mean." As it was only a few minutes to closing time, there's only one table still set up. Luckily, it gave a spectacular view of the setting sun over the rolling tide as I supped upon my dolphin smoothie. Kira seemed quietly thrilled with her Rocky Road milkshake, which looked bigger than her head, although she also glared at my dolphin viscera-filled cup. She dived in pretty much as soon as we had sat down and drank the whole thing in around 30 seconds. I had started to compete with her after she'd taken a couple of big glugs, but it didn't go very well as the brain freeze quickly set in and some dolphin blowhole chunks went right up my nose. "You'll need more practice, I'm afraid. I try to come here most days if I can. It seems to make the school days pass quicker." Oh, fucking Christ, what now? Fucking stupid phone. Kira looked out to sea as she savoured the last few drops. "I could sit here all day watching the sea. A lot of people would find that mundane, but they wouldn't if they focused on the right things." She blinked as the breeze caught her hair and whistled slightly as it travelled through the discordant buildings and past us. Her eyes followed it and lingered in the direction it left. Without turning back, she said in a half-whispered tone, "I should go." She leant over, kissed me on the cheek, and left. I violently wiped it off, not wanting to get her disgusting cooties all over me. Her hair swayed as she disappeared into the distance, and then I never saw her again. I decided to go back into town as I'd seen something that caught my eye. I'd been moved around my whole life, barely spending more than a few months in one school. People usually react to this fact with pity, not necessarily expressing it vocally, but it's there in their eyes. This has always made little sense to me, though. I know no different. It's all I've ever known. It's my life. School has always been a place of purpose to me. I'm naturally inquisitive and have a strong desire to widen my pool of knowledge, like how delicious every variety of dolphin is. That's why I've always secured a place in the local school before agreeing to relocate. For the first time I can remember, a school had become more than a place of learning for me. For once, I was eager to stay put. All the delicious dolphin dishes that they had to offer. Then again, it's hard not to be charmed by the place. The school is situated on the end of a peninsula, and no matter where you are, you can hear the constant lapping of the docile waves on the beach not far below. The teachers and pupils work much in the same way as any other school I've attended, yet it is all sheathed in a potent, comforting acquiescence atmosphere, which makes it all seem entirely different. Special. I've been attending for a few weeks now, and had built up some acquaintances in the process, which helped the days pass quicker, but the one person that I really cared for about seemed cold, almost like she was trying to avoid me. Finally! I've gotten her to go the fuck away. Which is strange, as she was the exact opposite outside of the establishment. We spend most of our time after school together. In fact, it had become an unspoken rule that we meet in the milkshake parlor. She's still mad about the dolphin shakes. They cost $20 a shake, but it's worth it. Just last night, as planned, we went crab fishing, sat on the end of the harbour. We talked until the sun went down, but for some reason, whenever I caught her eye in the classroom, she always looked away. Kira had been acting weird all day. She was usually so cheerful and full of life, but today she almost seemed absent. She'd been looking out the window and fiddling with her pen all lesson, which is why it came as no surprise when she got up and walked out towards the end. I tried to ignore this and concentrate on what the teacher was saying. Poseidon's greatest temple resided in Atlantis. So when Atlantis was destroyed, Poseidon left the planet. Poseidon fucking left the planet, like Poochie style. He was like, my planet needs me, I gotta go, and just fucking dipped out of the ocean. What was on Kira's mind? What was making her unhappy? Could she have family problems? Maybe I was just projecting. Then again, I don't recall her ever mentioning her family before, aside from her dolphin mother that got killed by a bunch of fishermen. It seemed like a waste of time sitting there contemplating what was running through her mind, instead of just asking her. As Kira had done a few minutes before, I left the room without a word. I had a feeling I knew where Kira would be. The dolphin exhibit at the local aquarium. I found Kira sat on a collection of large, dark, uneven rocks which were located on the end of the peninsula beneath the school. The above cliff was called the Suicide Point? I'm not entirely certain why. They were only accessible in a very limited period each day and weren't easy to reach, but your reward was a privacy and a chance to escape the school above, which was out of view due to the rocky area being a little indented into the land. I found Kira sitting there, watching the sea massage everything around her, small amounts of spray occasionally splitting over her feet. The sky was grey and it looked like a storm could be coming, but it wasn't too cold yet. She briefly looked up and smiled at me, acknowledging my presence as I sat on the rock next to her. I rolled down my knee-high socks to prevent them from getting wet, pulled my legs... Wait. You rolled down your knee-high socks to keep them from getting wet, but you still... Did you not take them off? How are you keeping them from getting wet if they're still on?